Doesn't it feel a little weird to be excited for something around this time of year? The first months of a year are always the most barren. Everyone is trapped in their own post-holiday slump, college and school in general is starting back up again, and there is all the snow, but without the holiday spirit. And as we know, Christmas time is like a cash cow for the gaming industry. So of course they want to make sure their best IPs are the hot button items. Nintendo and the Pokemon Company know this fully well, so for the past 7 years, ever since Pokemon X and Y came out, every single mainline Pokemon game has been released in mid-November, which gives it enough time to leave good impressions on people and have them tell their friends that they've gotta ask Santa for it. It is just the right amount of time for FOMO to settle in. Today is January 22nd, 2022, and it has been 2 months since Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl came out, which also means that it's also a mere 6 days until the release of a little game called Pokemon Legends Arceus. The game that Pokemon fans have been asking for years is finally within our grasp. An open-world adventure where we are able to go out on our own and find Pokemon living freely, flourishing in their natural habitats, free from the consequences of human colonization, less than a single week away. But up until a few days ago, hasn't the discourse and hype around this game seemed a little tame? Let me ask you a question and really think about this for a second. Are you excited for this game? If so, why? What is it that sold you on this product? Is it the concept of a Breath of the Wild style Pokemon game? Do you like the different regional variants they showed, like Hisui and Zoroark, or the new evolutions to previous Pokemon like Basculegion? Or perhaps you don't even need to be sold on the game because you've never played a Pokemon game you didn't enjoy. I know that me personally, I've been on the more skeptical side with this game because ever since the whole Sword and Shield debacle and everything involving Dexit, I have been on the more critical side of recent Pokemon games alongside the vocal majority of the internet, except I'm not going to go and pretend like I'm boycotting the games and not buying them, because I still very much enjoyed playing Pokemon Sword and Brilliant Diamond despite their shortcomings. Now mind you, the shortcomings where they were absolutely atrocious. But that doesn't stop me from enjoying them. Pokemon at a base level has such an addictive gameplay loop that it almost never gets old to me and is always insanely fun. It's a franchise that no matter how much of a dip in quality there is, it's something I can always rely on having fun with. Now, with that being said, what happens when that timeless gameplay loop is altered? Pokemon Legends Arceus is the first mainline Pokemon game to break typical conventions and almost become something of its own thing. There has been discussion about whether or not it could have gone further, but it's definitely the furthest the series has strayed as of yet. This initially had me a little concerned, because the only thing that made Sword and Shield fun is because it was a traditional Pokemon game at heart. Everything else about the modern design philosophy of the games is questionable, if not straight up bad, objectively speaking. So in the beginning, my opinion wasn't as much I'm excited for this game as it was, please don't mess this up, because I knew that an open world Pokemon game, done right, could become one of the best games of all time, at least in my opinion. As time went on, they revealed more tidbits such as the new forms, new evolutions, new little snippets of gameplay, new shots of different locations across the Hisui region, and the new characters. And not much more than that. The problem is that this is how Pokemon showcased all their other mainline games. X and Y, Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, they all had this easy loop of advertising, because if you bought a Pokemon game, you kind of already know what you're getting yourself into. You travel across the region, battle trainers, catch wild Pokemon, get the gym badges, battle the Elite Four, battle the champion, and pimp smack some baddies all along the way. At their core, Pokemon Sword and Shield aren't too different from the original Pokemon Red and Blue games in terms of what your goals are. New characters, new Pokemon, and a new region being the only 3 things a Pokemon game needs to change and be advertised for it to become new. But for Legends Arceus, just by looking at the trailers alone, can you genuinely tell me what the goal of this game is? It can't be fighting the champion or Elite Four because Hisui is still trapped in colonial times. How many towns are there? Where do you go? Why is the game centered around Arceus? This leads me to the main point of this video. Pokemon Legends Arceus was advertised like shit. Gamefreak and the Pokemon Company are so caught up in their old ways of advertising that they aren't showcasing the biggest selling point for the game, the all-new gameplay. This is the first Pokemon game where I'm actually more excited for the new gameplay rather than just the new Pokemon and the new scenario and the new characters. Just seeing straight up gameplay would have been the thing that got me the most hyped up for the game early on, and the same goes for a lot of other people. But we didn't get a gameplay trailer until only 2 weeks before the game was set to come out, which might make people only more skeptical, because if it took them until this close to release to show complete gameplay, then perhaps the game was rushed. Who knows? It's definitely not helping the opinions of those who are on the fence. But the gameplay they showcase is the thing that's set in stone for me that the game will be good. Everything about it looks fresh, new, and exciting. The fact that you gotta gather the resources to make Pokeballs yourself. You as the human player gotta dodge the attacks of these huge Pokemon with beating red eyes. And even just riding around on Weirdeer looks like an absolute joy. Just being in the world seems amazing and like a childhood dream come true. But even after this gameplay trailer, there is still so much we don't know about the game. Sure, there's tons of fun side quests and things to accomplish, but again I ask, what is the goal? What is the objective? Do I just walk around catching Pokemon doing f*** all? Is there a champion I need to be worried about? There's so much they leave us in the blue about. This is where there's kind of a fork in the argument about whether it's a better thing for companies to reveal more or less about a game to advertise it. Some people enjoy knowing everything about their game before release, and others are excited about being surprised.
Also, I'm pretty excited for Legends Arceus. I think it comes down to some of the unknown. Like, I would know what I'm getting out of a typical Pokemon game, a traditional Pokemon game coming out, but I'm genuinely unsure as to what we're about to get out of Legends Arceus, and that's actually pretty exciting.
For me, I know that playing some games blind is what made them become some of my favorites of all time. With too much information, there will be nothing left to surprise you, and with too little information, there will be nothing left to interest you or hook you in. Then of course there's the sweet spot in the middle where just enough is revealed to entice the player to purchase the game and see the rest for themselves. Of course, Legends Arceus is somewhere on the spectrum, but I don't know where. I think when it comes to open world games, there's so much to do and there's so many aspects of it that the variety is what keeps people curious. But what Nintendo showed off sufficed for a normal Pokemon game and not something on this scale. This is the game we needed to know more about before release. The hype season for this game compared to other games in the series was incredibly weak. And the same goes for the Diamond and Pearl remakes. If you compare the trailer releases of Legends Arceus to that of Sun and Moon, it's not even a competition. Sun and Moon clock in at 19 different trailers. Meanwhile, Legends Arceus only has a lousy 7. Sun and Moon almost tripled their trailer count. But if you're saying that's not fair because Sun and Moon is a whole new generation, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire clocked in at 13. It's arguable that Legends Arceus is so new that it should be on par with a new generation in terms of information drops. I used to do reaction videos to all the Sun and Moon trailers on this channel as they were released. And still to this day, I consider it the most fun hype season I've ever participated in. Even beating out things like Smash Ultimate. Again, if there was a game that needed information released about it, it was Legends Arceus. And as a cherry on the skeptic cake, the Diamond and Pearl remakes received barely any trailers as well, because those games turned out to be almost identical to the original. It almost became a little too faithful of a remake. So maybe people will assume that Legends Arceus will also come out half-baked once we finally play it, because if there's anything the past year and a half has taught us, it's that trailers can be cherry-picked to oblivion. But of course, the internet being the way it is, can't keep any secrets to itself, so 4 days ago, the heavens opened up and the entirety of the game leaked online. This is the reason why I made this video. Once everyone knew of the game's full contents, it became clear that Gamefreak had a lot of stuff they were keeping from us, a lot of which feeds into the narrative that this game was advertised horribly, and they didn't even show the good shit I'm not going to spoil anything for you except for one thing at the end, but I'll give you a warning when the time comes. If you've seen the leaks, you probably know what it is. There's a lot of different concerns and aspects of the game that were expanded on or answered through people showcasing their own gameplay from early leaked copies. The three main ones being the Pokemon, the region, and the gameplay. There were a ton of regional variants in Pokemon that weren't shown in trailers. I think it was around like half of them weren't even shown. I think people who see the leaks will realize that the ones they showed off were some of the coolest, and then the rest that weren't shown off by Gamefreak themselves were more of a mixed bag of quality. On one hand, gold. On the other hand, painful, agonizing failure. Some are really cool, while others I feel could have been so much more. And again, I'll get to it at the end. Hisui is looking like it's going to be really, really beautiful. And I mean, these graphics in a lot of spots look amazing, while others, not so much. But then again, leave it to Reddit to base an entire opinion of a game off of one f***ing screenshot. And the moment of truth, the gameplay. There's a ton of small and big things found in the leaks, like a first-person mode as well as a long list of events that can happen in the game. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is a lot of stuff left out from trailers that look very exciting and promising. But I think the highlight of early impressions, overall, is that the game can be very difficult at times, which I am so hyped about. Me being able to one-shot Chairman Rose's entire team with Pyro Ball was just one problem with Sword and Shield being easy, so this is a godsend. As I'm a 20-year-old man, I want some challenge in my life. And women. But you get the point, right? There are so many juicy details found in the leaks that would be perfect to advertise for the game. But for some reason, Game Freak just manages to keep this game under wraps and not talk about some of the really, really cool stuff that this game has to offer. But let's get one thing straight. There is no world where this game underperforms. Sword and Shield were some of the most shit-on games in recent memory, and yet they still became the third best-selling Pokemon titles of all time, only behind Gold and Silver and then Red and Blue. Will it outsell Sword and Shield? Hopefully. I want this game to sell well because it might make Game Freak realize that innovation and breaking conventions is lucrative and the best thing going forward. I'd love to have more games in the future on this scale. Pokemon Legends Kyurem will become inevitable quite soon, so if they evolve this new formula and make it better, the future of Pokemon in general is looking very, very bright. I just think in terms of hyping up this game, Game Freak kind of dropped the ball a little. And the hype could have been so much more. In the past, they've done so much more to hype up their games, but despite these games looking really good in the finality of it all, if you're relying on leakers to create the hype for a game, I think that's a sign of missed potential. And who the f*** releases their games in January? Finally, let's address the elephant in the room. Or rather, the Otter. Because Game Freak has superb fucking taste. They could have picked any of the 8 water starters, and they choose my favorite Pokemon line of all time. I am fully convinced that this is the good timeline. The pandemic, the dollar store apocalypse, all f***ing worth it if this is the outcome. All paths lead to Oshawa. But when it was first announced, it got me thinking, wouldn't it be awesome if all the starters had their own Hisuian forms? Ladies and gentlemen, the second coming of Christ. Look at my boy, he was done so clean. He's a water dark type. It's a good day to be a Samurott fan. All 3 of us. Hey, what do you know, it's my first video in over a year, and my first actual video in over 3. Truly wild. But yeah, guys, I want to make this video because I want to collect my thoughts about Legends Arceus and put them into one source, since I am genuinely very excited for this coming Friday. And I hope you guys are too. I definitely haven't forgotten about my promise to upload. I actually was busy the last year bouncing between drafts of a bunch of different ideas for videos. Some got scrapped, but I think I found the one that'll stick. I did something different for it and I scripted it word for word to make my thoughts more orderly. I even did it for this video, and that is why I've been staring down here the entire video. It's long, it's tedious, but it makes the final product so much more coherent. But for the new video, the script is done, the voiceovers are mostly recorded, it just needs to be edited. That's gonna take a while since the ideas I have are so ambitious. I'm putting the most effort into it than I've put into anything I've ever done, and I genuinely mean that. It's been a passion project I've wanted to make for 2 years, and it's shaping up to genuinely be something of a magnum opus for me. Just something I'm insanely proud of. And believe me, this video is not short. I will be uploading it here once it's ready, so it would mean the world to me if you subscribed and stay tuned for when it is finally finished. Also, drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. It's the easiest way of letting YouTube know I didn't die. Also, comment down below and let me know your thoughts about Legends Arceus. If you watched this far, I love you guys, thank you for sticking it through, and until next time, I am going to go give myself frostbite. Why am I walking across campus in 4-degree weather to get a tub of f***ing fries?